Meals on Wheels is something a lot of Canadians depend on, but how do you deliver Meals on Wheels in this time of social distancing? I'm joined by David Townsend, Executive Director of Southern Frontenac Community Service. Hi, David. How are things going?
Great, Donna. Thank you. How are you?
Hey, we're getting tired of my own company. Mind you, I've got house guests, so that's helping a lot. But
Mhm.
um, hey, this is not something we ever read a manual on, is it?
Not one bit. Every
Yeah,
day's a new day, even though it feels the same.
a new challenge. And how are you doing with staff and everybody? Is everybody staying safe?
They are. We typically have a staff of 17. We're down to 5 of us in the office. So strictly the cook, the Meals on Wheels coordinator, our food bank coordinator. I'm here as the ED, and then we either have one of the other 2 managers in. So that's it.
It is stretched thin. That's really stretched thin. So the two services I know about is the food bank. This is in Sydenham,
It
North,
is in Sydenham.
and
We provide food bank services for anybody in South Frontenac or rural Kingston, so north of the 401.
and how is that going? I know there's been a lot of pushes to restock food banks. How is it working for you?
Uh, we're doing great. I won't say we're double the numbers coming through, but it's pretty darn close. Like from mid 40s to mid 70s is where we're at now. Some of the shelves are looking bare, but I've absolutely been blown away by the support of this community. People bring food in, but monetary donations have been coming in. We've created some really great relationships with the 2 food lands in Verona and Sydenham. That if we're short something, we can call them, and if they can add it to their food order, they will bring it in for us, at our cost, but it's a food supply that's coming in. Others like Cisco and Loving Spoonful and Partners in Mission Food Bank, I've never seen so much cooperation amongst people providing food. It's just phenomenal.
It's a funny thing when things like this happen. You see the best of people, you see the worst of people, but I think it's outweighed by the best in people, and that sounds like what's happening in your neck of the woods.
That's exactly right. We've got people coming through who I've never met or they've never been associated with us, and they're all pitching in, and they all know that it's going straight to where it's needed. We've opened up our criteria for people who need both frozen Meals on Wheels and the food bank, that you don't need to be a client or you don't need to be 60. Are you hungry? We can help.
There's probably people coming in who never in their wildest dreams dreamt they would ever have to go to a food bank.
Exactly. And the way we've set it up is that it's a very safe spot to come. The social distancing, the hand hygiene, everything else is in there. But it's also very much that we're having people come one at a time. So if you're embarrassed or worried or anything else about getting food to keep you going, you're the only one who's going to know about it. So come on in and get it and be safe.
So where else do you get funding other than donations?
Well, our meals programs are primarily a Ministry of Health funded program through the Southeast LHIN. But we blow by those targets within 3 months of the start of the year. And so we're so grateful that the United Way of KFLNA has stepped up to really help support the Meals on Wheels program even further. So between the Ministry of Health, the United Way, and donations, there's a small client fee, and that's what sustains us to deliver over 5,000 meals every year.
Wheels, because that's got to be way more complicated when it comes to social distancing. So it starts with first getting the food that you're going to prepare and then
Mhm.
preparing the food. How does all that working out for you?
Well, it's working well. So Josie's our cook. She's in between 5:30 and 6 every morning. The kitchen is commercially graded. We may have 1 or 2 volunteers or The staff who are being redeployed come in to help her, working on opposite sides of the islands, of course. But the food is coming in. Cisco's great. They get it all produced. We're now up to about 60 odd hot meals on Tuesdays, and just below that, in low 50s on Thursdays. Josie and Joanne, who's the meals coordinator, have created a plan that if the demand continues to go, we can do a third meal on Fridays. But the demand isn't there for it yet. So Josie gets all the meals cooked, prepared. She and the volunteer will package them. Joanne will then put them into the hot meal containers and actually take them to the door so the volunteer drivers don't come into the building, so that the social distancing can be maintained there.
Now, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, no, the neat thing that we're doing is that when a senior calls wanting food, we will do the 5-question screening tool right then and there. Have you traveled? Have you been around anyone who's traveled? How are you feeling? And then the day of the meal, Joanne is back in contact with the senior, doing a second screen with them. And then with the volunteer drivers, she's also screening them every day that they come in, so that when we know that there's no health issues when the meal's being delivered. And then the volunteer will get to the client's home, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, put the food down on a table or a chair that's there, and then step back, sort of 2 to 3 meters until the senior can actually come and get the food.
Wow, that's a lot of logistics.
Oh,
Life has got complicated, it sounds like. And
yeah.
so my understanding of Meals on Wheels is that it's for shut-ins. Is that accurate?
No. The hot meals is really for anybody age 60 and over. You're alone during the day. You may have a caregiver who's gone to work, or you're just the two of you left. Lunchtime has become the main meal of the day for a lot of seniors, and it's our way just to really keep them healthy and socially engaged with us.
Well, I always think that the ones that deliver Meals on Wheels are special people. It isn't just a matter of here's your food, got to run. They spend some time with them. So do they take a few steps back and then chat with them a little bit, or how is this go?
They do. Depending on the route that the volunteer is driving on, we certainly have a time limit from when they leave here until when the last meal is delivered, to maintain the food quality and temperature. And a lot of our volunteers will spend an extra 2 minutes with the senior, just gabbing. How are you? What's up? How are you feeling? Anything special you need? Is there more that they can do? It becomes a social contact.
Well, that's what I've always understood, that was every bit as important as the meal itself. Do you ever run into a case, and this is normal times as well as now, where they say, oh boy, he was off today, something's not quite right there? Does that happen, and what do you do when that happens?
So when the driver notices that, they will come back and they will have a conversation with Joanne or her supervisor, Kim, and just sort of say, I've noticed that this wasn't quite right. Every once in a very long while, the senior doesn't come to the door. And so the driver comes back with the food, and again, reports to Joanne or Kim, and we will either follow up as staff on the phone, or we'll get the sort of paramedics normally to be involved to go actually knock on the door and find out if something's happened.
And you have another service that you offer that keeps track of people who might be not doing so well. How does that work?
Well, during this crisis, with people staying at home, they've lost social contacts, they've lost visits with neighbors. So we've started something called telephone reassurance that a lot of other community support service agencies also do. But it's a matter that we will make a phone call, from a staff, from a volunteer to the person at home, just to have a social check-in phone call. They're fun. Some of them are very quick. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Talk to you next week. Some of them we've made some great new friends with phone calls lasting up to 45, 50 minutes. But it's a great way to stay in touch and make people feel they're still part of a society.
And have you any stories where you've caught something where maybe it wouldn't have been caught otherwise?
There have been more through the Meals on Wheels than the telephone reassurance, where seniors had a fall, they haven't come to the door, and we've gotten the paramedics involved to do that. We have found through the telephone reassurance that some of our clients, some of our seniors are struggling because of food, or they're not able to get out, they're not paying their bills, they're needing help. So we're making linkages really to keep them safely engaged at home. Yeah.
Wow, you have got your hands full, short-staffed, and still delivering all the services and more than normal. So good for you. Good for
Thank
you.
you.
Is there anything that the rest of us can do to help you out these days?
Um, Continue to just, follow the public health guidelines is great. Donations to us help a whole bunch. But most importantly, if you know of somebody that's going without, give us a phone call, give us an email, let us know. We've got the resources. We will go above and beyond to keep people, safe and fed.
And what is your area again?
So the township of South Frontenac, so pretty much from Godfrey, all to Burnt Hills on the east side, all the way down to the 401.
All right, so even someone who's outside that area could call you and you could put them in touch with the right person.
Exactly.
Well, good to know you're there. And thank you for doing what you do. And thank you so much for being with us today and telling us all about this project. And David, stay safe.
Donna, thank you very much. It's truly appreciated.